Hello and welcome to this edition of FYI Weekly, your official source for City of Greensboro news and information. Greensboro Mayor Nancy Vaughn rescinded the citywide mask ordinance following guidance from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, in addition to Governor Roy Cooper's willingness to lift many COVID-19 restrictions. According to the CDC, fully vaccinated people may stop wearing masks in most indoor and outdoor settings, including gatherings taking place indoors. Greensboro now falls under the state's Executive Order number 215. The public and city government employees will be required to wear masks and face coverings inside all city-owned facilities. The executive order still requires masks to be worn in child care facilities, schools, camps, public transit, healthcare settings, and homeless shelters. Private businesses may also continue to require customers to wear a mask. Vaccines are still readily available from Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson by appointment and walk-ins throughout Guilford County. Mayor Nancy Vaughn personally thanked Cone Health, FEMA, and the Guilford County for their efforts with the vaccine distribution. For updated information and facts about COVID-19, visit the CDC website or the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services COVID-19 website. Mark your calendars for the following dates when city offices and facilities will be closed for the following holidays. Monday, May 31st, the city will observe Memorial Day. For the first time in the city's history, offices will be closed on Friday, June 18th in recognition of Juneteenth. The city will observe Independence Day on Monday, July 5th. As a result, Monday trash and recycling collections will take place on Tuesday, and Tuesday's collections will take place on Wednesday. Friday holiday trash and recycling collections will take place on Thursday, and Thursday's collections will take place on Wednesday. For more information, call the contact center at 336-373-CITY. There's still time to take advantage of open streets on Saturday nights. The option continues through the end of May. Shop local and enjoy downtown patio dining along a pedestrian-friendly Elm Street. Shops and restaurants are open from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturdays until May 31st. For more information, visit DGI's website. The city is conducting waterline rehabilitation work. As a result, the following streets will experience occasional lane closures and delays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. through Wednesday, June 30th. Bothwell Street between Hannaford Road and Muncy Lane, and Muncy Lane between Bothwell Street to the second intersection of Edmond Drive. During the same time frame, similar work will result in lane closures and delays along several streets near the campus of North Carolina A&T. These projects are part of the city's ongoing water rehabilitation program, which is funded by water and sewer rates. Refer to the maps for locations. Directional signage and traffic cones will be in place. Drivers are encouraged to use alternate routes to avoid the construction areas. Dates and times may change due to weather or last-minute changes in the work schedule. For more information, contact the contractor, Main Lining, at 443-790-3774. There is also a 24-hour emergency line at 336-402-5253. The city developed a partnership with Cone Health to share a series of brief and informative videos designed to inspire you to make better choices when it comes to healthy living. Following these tips is an easy way to help each of us improve our quality of life. Let's take a moment to check out today's news for your health.
The coronavirus pandemic has presented us with a unique and challenging situation. It can create a great deal of anxiety and stress. Anxiety and stress to a limited degree can actually be very helpful. However, taken to a significant degree, stress can create problems for us both physically as well as emotionally. So when trying to manage your stress, there are a number of strategies you can utilize. It is important to really not focus solely on those things we cannot control. In fact, what you should do is have some discussions and think about and even list those things we do have control of. Make it something that you can do together as a family. It's simple as what you're deciding to watch on television, the things that you do during the day, what you're having for dinner. And those may seem like small things that we all don't even think about during the day, but when you're in a time like this, when so much of life feels out of control, those things can feel very comforting. Do not overload on information. It is, in fact, important to understand the facts and keep up to date on to what is going on. However, you don't want to overload by watching television 24/7, staying with the newspaper, all day long. You need to take a break from that information. Think about the things in your life that you've used in the past that have helped you stay calm. Listening to music, or playing a musical instrument, or reading, talking with family members. These are all the same kinds of things that will help you during this challenging time. Think about creating new routines, whether it's games or watching certain television shows. Try some creative, artistic kinds of things that would be fun and unique. Try to incorporate your children into helping you come up with suggestions of things that would be fun to do. It's really important to understand that, again, stress and anxiety is normal. Do not try to just push it away or pretend it doesn't exist. If we try to deny it and push it down, it sometimes can create really cumbersome feelings, and it becomes more difficult to hold it back than it is just to let it out. It's okay to talk about it, it's okay to acknowledge it, and that, in fact, will help you work through it. Look at each day as a unique day. We take it one day at a time. Be very present in that day and make it the best possible day it can be. And tomorrow, creativity takes over, you make an entirely new day. But day by day, you will get through this, and that's the best way you can manage some of the stress and the anxiety that comes along with this.
Residents who want to learn more about city government operations and experience a first-hand look behind the scenes should apply for City Academy. We'll have that story and more news coming up after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. After being sidelined in 2020 by COVID-19, applications for City Academy are being accepted through July 1st. Individuals who applied in 2020 do not need to apply again. This free program is designed to develop a civic leadership and prepare residents to serve on city boards and commissions. City Academy offers a behind-the-scenes look at city government through hands-on activities and facility tours. There are 2 optional sessions with police covering firearms training, a driving while impaired simulation, and the K-9 unit. The weekly classes are from 5:45 p.m. to 9 p.m. from September through November. A graduation ceremony will take place on December 7th during the City Council meeting. 30 diverse residents representing each City Council district will make up the Academy. Participants must be at least 18 years old and pass a criminal background check. Preference will be given to those willing to serve on a city board or commission. To apply for City Academy, visit the city's website or call the Community Relations Office at 336-373-2723. Creative Greensboro continues its Greensboro Residency for Original Work series with filmmaker Kamari Bryant. Bryant's residency will explore the process of filmmaking through a series of community workshops where a team of professionals will work together to write, direct, and develop a new film. The workshops are scheduled at 5 p.m. from May 19th to June 11th. The class meets on the second floor of the Greensboro Cultural Center. Participants are asked to pay what they can as a donation. A face covering is required and social distancing will be practiced. The workshop topics include, but aren't limited to, intro to project, production and costume design, photography, and music composition. These workshops are funded by Creative Greensboro's Catalyzing Creativity Grant, which awarded $60,000 for 10 creative programs planned for the first half of the year. GROW is an open flex space for Guilford County-based creative individuals and organizations to produce new and original works that encourage public engagement. The Greensboro Cultural Center is located at 200 North Davie Street. For more information about GROW or Creative Greensboro, visit the city's website. Start planning for COVID-conscious summer activities by visiting Greensboro online. This is where to find a host of in-person, socially distant, and virtual activities, programs, and events sponsored by the Greensboro Parks and Recreation Department, Creative Greensboro, and the Department of Libraries and Museums. Consider participating in events for all ages, ranging from the Pieces of Now exhibit to sports programs for teens and adults to the summer concert series Music for a Sunday Evening in the Park, or MUSEP. Many of the programs are free. Creative Greensboro continues its 40-plus year history of free live performances with the MUSEP concert series. This year, for the first time, there will be a production of a Broadway review. The library's virtual story times and book clubs and Parks and Recreation's Growing Up Wild series for kids 2 to 5 are also free. And of course, admission is always free at the Greensboro History Museum. There's a little something for everyone. Map out your summer activity plan at gsosummeronline.com. North Carolina Operation Lifesaver has a new president, and he's a familiar face and fixture in Greensboro. Coming up after the break, we'll introduce you to the agency's new leader and talk about railroad safety. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. Next time you approach a railroad crossing, consider in 2020, 12 people in North Carolina lost their lives in rail-related incidents. 11 of those fatalities involved pedestrians illegally walking on the tracks and being struck by passing trains. Joining me now to talk about these staggering statistics and how to prevent them is Jim Westmoreland. He is the board chair and president of North Carolina Operation Lifesaver. Hello, Jim. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Carla. How are you?
I'm
Good
well.
to be here.
Good to see you. Thank you for
you.
joining me.
You're welcome.
So for folks who are not familiar, tell us about North Carolina Operation Lifesaver.
Yes, so North Carolina Operation Lifesaver is a nonprofit rail safety education and awareness organization. So our bread and butter is we really focus on ways to outreach with communities to try to spread the message about rail safety. And certainly in Greensboro, we've had our share of issues over time, both with rail crossings as well as with trespassers who are out there walking along the tracks in Greensboro.
And it's so appropriate that you've been named the board chair and president. As the former city manager of Greensboro, this was a topic of interest to you and awareness that you brought to the residents. But what would you say now are the most significant rail safety issues in Greensboro and across the state?
Well, in Greensboro and across the state both, we continue to have problems and issues with people walking on the tracks. And I guess that's probably what made me most passionate about rail safety is when, I was in Greensboro for 20 years and then serving as city manager. It seemed like we consistently had problems with people in the community that were walking along the rail line, specifically between the depot to Franklin Boulevard. And almost yearly we had fatalities and accidents that happened of people who live here that were involved in those different issues. So trespassing remains probably the single biggest issue in Greensboro. Probably, that's due to the fact that we have a lot of community housing on the south side of the tracks, and then we have retail and other kinds of commercial uses on the north side of the tracks. So it's been a consistent problem in Greensboro. We continue to try to outreach through North Carolina Operation Lifesaver to Greensboro. We have safety partners that we consistently work with, of which the Greensboro Police Department is probably one of our primary safety partners. So we have these stop and organizations that we get out and we talk to people at the rail crossing areas and hand out literature and information. The police department specifically, and I just wanted to highlight them for a minute, they implemented a novel program of sorts back when I was the city manager with Greensboro, where they use their ATV patrol resources to get out on the tracks and basically to interact with citizens that are out there walking along the tracks illegally and let them know about what's happening. And it's more of an educational awareness type of thing to let them know that A, the trains are infrequent in terms of coming up and down through there. B, there's a lot of fast trains that happen to use that particular corridor between the depot and Franklin Boulevard. the Amtrak train specifically, and see that those trains can be up on you in just a matter of minutes, if not seconds, and they're very quiet these days, so you don't hear them. So they're just trying to educate our residents about the issues associated with walking on the tracks, to be more aware of what's going on out there.
And I think people consider it a shortcut, so that's why we have so many people walking, but also photographers love to use the rail tracks as a photo shoot opportunity, which I'm sure is equally as dangerous.
Yes, yes.
So 2020 rail statistics indicate that there has been some improvement. Is that true, or was that a COVID anomaly?
That was a COVID anomaly. Specifically, during the time of COVID, as you might imagine, certainly rail passenger transportation frequencies with Amtrak were reduced, if not eliminated in certain cases. So on a normal day, we have about 10 Amtrak trains that go through Greensboro. Last year we had, due to service reductions, 2 to 4 Amtrak trains per day that ran specifically down that corridor. Freight train traffic was also off, so as you might imagine, the country sort of shut down for about 3 to 6 months as we went through the most severe parts of the pandemic. And overall freight traffic was also reduced, but now we're back up to full capacity, so we're seeing a lot more train interactions, which presents a lot more potential for people to interact and vehicles to interact with trains. So we're trying to sort of up our game as it relates to educational outreach and awareness to people, to let them know that there's more activity there, but more importantly to let them know what they can do to help prevent accidents in the future. And one thing that I would mention is, our organization is here to help community organizations or groups. We have a sort of a cadre of different kinds of resources that we can use to provide to different groups that may want to focus on rail safety education. I know when I was here with Greensboro, we spent some time specifically along the corridor I mentioned between the depot and Franklin Boulevard, outreaching with the community and holding organized meetings where we talked about the issues of rail safety, as well as things that could be happening within the community that they could do for themselves. Okay.
Now, if you actually observe a person or a vehicle on the railroad tracks, how do you report it?
Yeah, so there's probably a couple of ways to report it. One is certainly you can call 911 and you can let people know that you're seeing activity happening along the track that you want to report, and they'll take that information and relay it to the police department or emergency providers. Also, there's this unique sort of identifier at all public rail crossings in North Carolina. It's what I call an emergency notification sign. So it's a little blue sign that sits at the bottom of the crossing arm. And if you look at it, it will have a phone number on it, and it will also have sort of a crossing identifier number on that as well. What people probably don't understand is that phone number rings directly into the railroad company's dispatch operations. So as trains are moving up and down the line, if there's an issue there, so say for instance a vehicle is stuck on the tracks, or you see somebody walking on the tracks and they look like they're in trouble and they need some help, you can call that number. It's relayed to the dispatcher. The dispatcher can get in touch with the train, and theoretically they can either delay or stop the train in the tracks so you can avoid collisions or other kinds of issues happening. Plus the railroad companies, whether it's Norfolk Southern or whether it's Amtrak, they like to know those kinds of things so they can focus their resources in areas that might have sort of targeted needs from that perspective as well. So it's a blue sign that most people probably, when they see it, they don't really know what it means or how to use it. But I think it's an important element of outreach in terms of people understanding what it's really there for. Okay, good to know. We will be on the lookout to pay more attention to that blue sign. Now, the community might want to support North Carolina Operation Lifesaver or volunteer. How can they get more information? Yeah, so they can contact our Executive Director, Margaret Cannell, and I think the information will be displayed on the screen. She is a ball of fire. She's very passionate about what she does for North Carolina and for North Carolina Operation Lifesaver. She will get you connected with people both in the community and on a national level if you need to have that happen, where you can get more information about rail safety. She will come out and present to your group. She'll engage local law enforcement or emergency providers if you'd like for her to do that. So, we're a very small organization. We're fueled by a very passionate executive director. But we're trying to make a difference in North Carolina and across the country. I think that, again, we still unfortunately tragically lose too many people every year to train and rail-related types of collisions and accidents. And from my perspective, most, if not all of these are preventable because most of the tracks out there at this day and time have signs and signals, and We're trying to do things to educate people about their options and choices of walking to avoid having to walk on the railroad tracks.
Wonderful. Well, Jim, it's always good to see you. Thank you for reminding us of the steps that we all need to take to ensure that we don't become casualties of the railroad. And we want you to come back and let us know about any events that you will have to bring more awareness to rail safety.
I will. Thank you, Carla. And again, thanks to the Greensboro Police Department for the effective and sort of innovative model that they came up with to sort of police the rail lines along Greensboro. And it's not really policing, it's just more community contact and educational awareness, which really has made a difference. It's become a national model, and I just wanted to applaud them for that effort.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for some useful information about Greensboro as we tell you something about the city. That's coming up after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. One way to stay informed about decisions that impact our city is by attending or tuning in to City Council meetings at 5:30 p.m. on the first and third Tuesday of the month. The fourth Tuesday is reserved for a meeting as needed. The City Council is holding hybrid meetings where they assemble in the council chambers, but the public participates virtually if they want to address the council. The Greensboro City Council meetings are broadcast right here on GTN. The meetings are also streamed live on the city's website and on Roku. The City Council meets on Level 2 of the Melvin Municipal Office Building located at 300 West Washington Street. To review the council meeting schedule and agendas, please visit the city's website. Here's an opportunity to learn a little something about the city. One City, One Book is beginning this fall, and now the time is for Greensboro readers to cast their vote and select a title for the community read. The executive committee has narrowed the options to 3 books: My Vanishing Country by Bakari Sellers, There There by Tommy Orange, and What Unites Us by Dan Rather. My Vanishing Country is a memoir by CNN political analyst Bakari Sellers. The author grew up in Denmark, South Carolina, a majority African-American town of 3,500, which is emblematic of the rural working-class black life. The book charts Sellers' extraordinary journey that led him from being the youngest person to serve in the South Carolina legislature to his current role with CNN. There There is a Pulitzer Prize finalist by Native American author Tommy Orange. This debut novel follows 12 characters from Native communities as they all travel to the Big Oakland powwow. With a common history, these voices share the plight of the urban Native American with unflinching focus. Veteran television news anchor Dan Rather shares essays on what it means to be an American in his book, What Unites Us. Readers are reminded of the founding principles of our nation, the freedoms that define us, the institutions that sustain us, and the audacity of the American spirit. Greensboro readers can cast their vote via SurveyMonkey. Paper ballots are also available at all library locations for those who do not have internet access. Coming up after the break, we'll showcase our department spotlight, but first, here's a preview of Action Greensboro's Boomerang Initiative.
Westerwood just is the art and soul of Greensboro is what I call it, really. It's this eclectic, just very diverse, very cultured.
Kind of the same way. I mean, it's an artist neighborhood, and I love like Daniel Park that we're in right now. Beautiful for walking, and Westerwood Tavern, good for hanging out.
My name is Natalie Miller. I'm the owner of the historic Magnolia House in Greensboro, North Carolina. Moved back to take on the family business and to carry on the legacy and do the important work of sharing the historic Magnolia House's narrative and all of the other African American sites here in the area.
I'm Tal Blevins. I'm the owner of Machete Restaurant here in Greensboro, and previously I spent 20 years as a tech journalist in San Francisco. Greensboro really offered us the opportunity to start our own business because it had a lower cost of living, and it also had a lot of open retail area for us to be able to look at. We started as a pop-up out of our house just to kind of test our concept for Machete Restaurant, and then we were able to find a space and we were able to kind of live our dream.
What's really awesome that I was really impressed by when I first moved here to the Westerwood neighborhood, we have this annual event where all of the neighbors are invited to showcase their art on the porch. And you go to these people's houses and you see what they do outside of their 9-to-5 selves, and it's amazing.
So when we were looking for houses in Greensboro and we were driving around Westerwood neighborhood, we love the different architectural styles here. We have a 1920s arts and crafts house, which has got a lot of character, which is something we wanted. We have fantastic neighbors, so it just had all the amenities that we wanted, as well as being close to downtown too.
Welcome back. The City of Greensboro has more than 20 departments and several divisions committed to serving you, our residents and visitors. Let's go behind the scenes in our department spotlight. The Neighborhood Development Department is coordinating the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. If your household has been financially impacted by COVID-19 and you or someone you know needs help paying rent and/or utility bills, you can apply for funds from the Federal Emergency Rental Assistance Program. The city received nearly $9 million to award qualified renters within the city limits. Apply for up to 12 months combined emergency rent and/or utility bill payment assistance per household. Past due, current, and future rental payments will go directly to landlords, and utility payments will be sent to utility companies. The money does not have to be repaid. Renters may personally apply, or landlords may apply on the renter's behalf. U.S. citizenship is not required to participate. Applications are available online and can also be printed in 60 different languages. Visit the city's website for a list of documents required to attach to the application. The Emergency Rental Assistance Program is administered by local partner agencies under city contract. Straight ahead on the other side of the break is this week's Way to Go GSO shout out. Stay with us. As we draw to a close, we always want to end on a positive note with our Way to Go GSO shout out. This week's shout out goes to Greensboro Parks and Recreation. The community celebrated the grand opening of the Gateway Gardens Visitor Center. The city's newest rental facility is located at 2800 East Gate City Boulevard. The city hosted a ribbon-cutting ceremony allowing visitors to tour the facility. The space will accommodate community meetings, small weddings or receptions, and corporate retreats, to name a few. For more information about parks and recreation programs and services, visit the department's website. Please remember, as more places continue to open, wear your face covering, wait 6 feet apart, and wash your hands often. That concludes this edition of FYI Weekly, but you can easily stay connected to the latest city news by linking to us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Alexa users can subscribe to our 5-minute flash briefings, which airs on 90.1 FM and 100.7 FM. Be sure to download our weekly podcast, Talk City Greensboro, and now GTN is streaming on Roku. For all of us here at the City of Greensboro, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.